Hi there folks, on behalf of Astromatrix, my name is Marcelle and I'm here today to talk to you about Saturn in Aquarius going retrograde on the 23rd of May. Before I dive into that, I just need to ask, please, if you do enjoy our content, to like and subscribe to our channel, as we do regular astrological updates. And then at the end of each reading that I do, I always offer a tarot reading on behalf of the collective, just to get a more rounded sense of what's going to be playing out. So, all right, let's dive straight into it then. Saturn is stationing retrograde on the 23rd of May. It continues all the way until the 10th of October, where it stations direct. It is in Aquarius, and it's also in continuation to the Pluto-Saturn transit that was happening throughout last year. So Pluto is currently retrograding in Capricorn, and Saturn has since moved from Capricorn into Aquarius. But because Pluto is retrograding through Capricorn, there will be an exacerbation of themes of power and control, which is what Pluto represents. So that means that the quality of Saturn retrograding in Aquarius will be emphasized and expanded on. So we're still struggling with these themes of power, but we've moved away from, the Saturn-Pluto challenge last year was about the control around power, the frustrations, the delays, authority. It was all Capricorn themes. But this year, because Saturn has moved into Aquarius, it changes the dynamics of what this control and power is about. So there's much more of a rebelliousness this year, and especially because Saturn is more or less throughout the year coming in and out of a square with Uranus. So let's talk a little bit more about what Saturn represents, what Aquarius represents, and then it's also very important to understand what Uranus and Taurus, what that represents. Okay, so Saturn is about time. It's the ruler of time, and it has to do with structure and control. It has to do with authority. It has to do with karma. Sometimes there is fear around Saturn, and it is wanting us to learn lessons. It's the father. It's wanting us to learn a sense of responsibility. So it has the ability to restrict things, to limit things. Aquarius, which is actually quite happy in Saturn, has to do with, very much the collective. It rules the collective, but it also has to do with freedom. It has to do with innovation, technology. It connects to the internet, and it's very much a forward-thinking genius element to it. So having Saturn in Aquarius indicates needing to learn responsibility around what is important for the collective. Aquarius also connects to friendships. So this Saturn in Aquarius is needing to learn, not only on behalf of our friendships, but also on behalf of the collective. What are we needing to learn? What responsibilities are we needing to learn around how it is that we treat each other, not just each other, animals, the planet as well? Where are we needing to evolve with how it is that we treat each other on this planet? What lessons are we needing to learn around that? And so having it then go retrograde, it can bring delays and restrictions to those lessons, especially because of the square to Uranus in Taurus. So the depositor of Aquarius is Uranus. So there's a direct correlation there between the Uranian Aquarian themes, which is very much about breaking free. It's about liberation. It's about freedom, but also about innovation and technology. So during this period, and there's nothing like the pressure of restriction or control or life to produce very innovative, forward-thinking technology, ideas, possibly even art, especially because Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, has to do with beauty. So let's explore what Uranus and Taurus is about. Uranus is very much the liberator. It wants to break free. It brings shock, it brings disruption, and its intention is to evolve any stagnation to a new level of consciousness and awareness. And so having it in Taurus, which is very much to do with stability, security, but also very much connected to the earth, it doesn't entirely feel comfortable in Taurus because it wants to break free, whereas Taurus is it's a stuck, fixed sign, and it wants its stability and security, and it wants things to stay as it is. Now, both Aquarius and Taurus are fixed signs, and so this has the potential to bring some kind of clash between the Saturn and the Aquarius. So Saturn wants responsibility, it wants foundation, it wants structure, it wants control, it wants things to continue as they are, but to develop. Uranus wants to shatter things, it wants liberation, it wants freedom, it wants forward thinking, innovation, it wants to shatter the outdated structures and controls that are no longer serving. So already we have this tension in play. How this can potentially play out is the structures of the old versus the new. And wherever it is that we're having this tension happening, it's needing to become aware of the importance of structures, but at the same time to be conscientious of the need for change. And then that's the tension that's playing out. What does this change look like? What does this change represent for us? Where are we too rigid and stuck? And this especially involves our friendships and our connection to the collective, to community. So because Saturn and Aquarius are both in fixed signs, there is the potential for stubbornness and 2 points of views that are not seeing each other's points of view. So there's not enough objectivity and detachment. If there isn't enough objectivity and detachment, it can result in stagnation and extreme tension, and especially if it gets heated, the argument between you and someone else, possibly a very close friend, as this may be stirred up during this period, then it will be very hard to move through this. So the challenge here is to learn objectivity as well as a level of detachment, to be able to sit down and have a conversation as opposed to getting very emotional about it. So this is a challenge for some of us, especially if we're very good at keeping things on the surface or keeping things tidy and nice and not wanting too much confrontation. And so the challenge there is for us as a collective, but also in our individual lives, is to learn new, innovative ways of communicating with each other in a more objective manner, in a more detached manner that allows us to understand each other's points of views and morals and values and opinions, to see the other side and not just our own, so that we can have a greater understanding of not only who the other is or the collective or who the groups are, but also have a clearer sense of what our needs and values are. And so this part is really, really important for us to move forward in an Aquarian way, which is connected to the collective, in order for us to be able to work better together as we do move forward. Now, this is especially helpful and supported by the fact that on the day of the retrograde, when Saturn stations retrograde, there is a grand trine happening in air signs, so in Gemini and Aquarius and Libra. And what this does is because these trines are working together, it's a really good way to start the retrograde, because it allows us to connect to a level of objectivity and it rules the mind. The air signs rule the mind. So the ability to reflect, to think, to connect to the mind with regards to challenges that come our way. It's almost like it allows some kind of mental upgrade with how it is that we meet the challenges instead of becoming emotionally entangled or not holding enough objectivity, especially for the other person's point of view. So that is a very helpful aspect that will be playing out at the beginning of the transit, the retrograde. And then we also, as I mentioned, we do have the Pluto retrograding in Capricorn, which has to do with power and control. So Pluto is going to be there until 2024, and with it going backwards, there are things that we're needing to review. There are things that we're needing to review with Saturn. So it has to do with power and control, what freedom means for us, our connection to our community, to the collective, our sense of responsibility. And of course, with Pluto in retrograde in Capricorn, which is what Saturn is the ruler of, there is the potential for Pluto to emphasize this structure and control and limitation of Saturn in Aquarius. So, because Aquarius rules the internet, we may see, we may have challenges around internet. We may have serious hackings that happen. But at the same time, as I mentioned, there may be more genius inventions that are coming through to do with the future that can support this process for us moving forward. So throughout this retrograde, throughout most of this retrograde, we also have Jupiter in Pisces. It is on the day that Saturn goes retrograde, Jupiter is at 0 degrees of Pisces, which is a very powerful point in astrology because it indicates something very new beginning. And Pisces is very much about compassion and intuition. It's very much connected to the senses. And so it's also connected to humanity. So we have this ability to access more compassion and sensitivity during these potential heated situations that arise, and which will allow us a more objective viewpoint of the other or the others that it is that we're dealing with, which is very, very helpful and supportive for us. So I do, as I mentioned, I do the tarot readings at the end of each reading. So I'm going to shuffle the cards on behalf of the collective, and so immediately 2 cards that fell out were the Six of Swords and the Sun, and it's just talking about we've been through a lot of turbulence, and we will continue to go through turbulence. But the Sun covering the following the Six of Swords is talking about the need to start moving away from conflict, from emotional drama. So it is an air sign, but it's in water, and it actually shows the water as turbulent, but then we move away from that turbulence towards calmer waters. And as we move away from the turbulence, we're moving towards the sun, towards the light. And ultimately it is about consciousnness, and that's what Aquarius and Uranus very much represents, higher consciousness. So that's a good start. So I feel that this Saturn is really, it's the teacher. It's very much coming to teach us some lessons. There's upgrades that are needing to happen, and it very much has to do with how it is that we interact with each other, and how it is that we interact, how it is that we meet and feel a responsibility towards our collective. Okay, so let's see. This is a reading related to Saturn retrograde in Aquarius on behalf of the collective. And I have shuffled the cards already, but I'm just giving them another shuffle. This is a reading on behalf of the collective related to the Saturn going retrograde in Aquarius. Alright, so what is the theme of the reading? Alright, so the questions that I have are, what is Saturn retrograde wanting of me? What is Saturn retrograde wanting of me? What is Saturn retrograde wanting to teach me, wanting for me to learn? Okay. Where am I needing more freedom in my life? Where am I needing more freedom in my life? Where am I needing more freedom in my life? Okay. Where am I needing more discipline? What is Saturn wanting to teach me around discipline? Where am I needing more discipline? Okay. Where am I needing more discipline? Okay. And what lessons am I to learn from the collective? For the collective. What lessons am I to learn from the collective and for the collective? Okay. Alright, so the theme of the reading is the Page of Swords, and the Page of Swords talks about new potential opportunities of learning that have not presented themselves yet. So it's almost like the page represents the student. So this is very much about new things that we're going to be learning. It's swords, Page of Swords. It rules the air. It rules the mind. So it's new information that's coming our way. It's new things that we're going to be learning. So this feels very positive, despite the obvious challenges that Saturn retrograde may bring. So the first question is, what is Saturn retrograde wanting of me? And we have the Four of Pentacles, and the Four of Pentacles has two interpretations. The one is needing to hold onto one's resources and to have more respect for one's resources. With consumerism in the past, it was just so easy to go out and spend and buy, and there was not enough awareness around how it is that we worked with or utilized our resources. So with this Four of Pentacles, it's asking us to become more conscientious of the interactions, the transactions that we make in our lives, and to allow that to have more value and meaning, as opposed to just spending for the sake of spending or buying things. But also it's about letting go. So where is it in our lives that we're holding on to too much control and too much rigidity and too much restriction? So it's literally a guy who's shutting off his heart and who's not allowing freedom. And so Saturn retrograde is going to bring restriction in order for us to, or tension, in order for us to experience a breakthrough with a desire for more freedom or for letting go. So the next question is, where am I needing more freedom in my life? And the next card is the Knight of Cups, and the Knight of Cups very much talks about the Knight is, it's not quite the King yet, so we're still on this journey of learning around love. The Cups represent the heart and the emotions, and where am I needing more freedom in my life is allowing more love into our life, allowing more opportunities where we engage love coming our way, opening ourselves to more experiences or offerings that relate to love, and to become more of an activist with regards to this. So possibly we are too aware of our own community around us. We don't allow other groups in, or we're too self-contained with how it is that we share our love. And the question is, where am I needing more freedom in my life? And so with the Knight of Cups, it's learning to become the Knight of Cups in your reality, but to break free your limitations around what that looks like. And of course, this is a work in progress, but again, there's nothing like restriction and limitation. And the challenge of that, the fears that it pushes up around what our freedom represents, around what our future represents, around our friendships, in order for us to get really clear that actually we want more freedom. And so that restriction allows for that. So the next question is, where am I needing more discipline? And we have the High Priestess, and so that one's very, very clear. And it plays with the masculine, feminine energies, and the masculine energy is very much about action. It's about initiation. It's about making things happen. Whereas the feminine, intuitive energy is about allowing. It's about waiting, allowing for things to unfold. And so where am I needing more discipline? We're needing to learn how to trust, how to let go, how to surrender, and how to allow things to unfold. Also to become more conscientious of triggers that come up for us. And this is what this grand trine in air has the potential to teach us, to reflect on things first, to process things within ourselves first before we lash out, to wait for things to unfold, to find their own meaning and story, as opposed to allowing our triggers or our reactions or our minds to dictate what's going on. So there's definitely more of a feminine allowing that is needed, that we're needing discipline around, to let go a little bit. Again, I'm getting the theme of letting go. So the last question is, what lessons am I to learn for the collective, from the collective? And we have the Eight of Cups, again a water sign. So we've actually got a lot of water here. And despite all of this being in air, despite Saturn in Aquarius being air, it's very much to do with the emotions and the maturing of the emotions. And so the lessons that we're to learn from the collective, for the collective, is to walk away from things that are no longer serving us emotionally. So it's about becoming conscious of walking away and actually choosing the paths that are a little bit harder, but in the long run bring us more freedom and represent truth for us, instead of staying in things that are safe or comfortable but are we're not happy in it. So this is what we're needing to learn for the collective and from the collective. So the collective, people coming into our realities, are here to teach us lessons, but we are also here to master these lessons in order to be better catalysts within the community, within the collective. And that very much evolves around aligning with our heart's desire, with our true intentions, and with what serves us, as opposed to staying in situations that no longer serve us. So there we go. I hope that shed some light on what will be playing out. And again, the challenge or the focus or the awareness is very much around taking the time to reflect on things, taking the time to see the other person's point of view, but also allowing, through surrender, this pressure to dissolve wherever it is that we're rigid or in too much control within our lives, and not allowing of more freedom. So thank you so much for your time, and we always love to hear, how this is impacting you, or where Saturn falls in your chart. So do share with us. And again, if you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much. Bye for now.